Now, do I need to do a new determination every single time? Well, possibly. It depends on how you build your procedures. So the flood insurance regulation allows you in certain circumstances, if criteria is met, to rely on a prior determination. So one path that financial institutions choose sometimes is say, all right, I'm not going to deal with this criteria. We're just going to get a new determination every time we have a loan where we take collateral and there are improvements involved. We're just going to get a new determination every single time. Keep it simple. Okay. Works great for them. The regulation does allow you, though, to rely on a prior determination. So let's just say that Amy's my teammate here moderating today. Let's say Amy was the borrower, and 6 months ago, Amy was in and got a loan that was secured by a piece of dirt with a building on it. We did a determination and we closed that loan. Now, 6 months later, she's in. We're going to take that same piece of dirt as collateral. There's again a building on it, so we got to do a flood determination. Option one would be just to do a new one, okay, a new cost. We pass it on to Amy. She pays it. Fine. The other option would be to say, well, if we meet the prior determination criteria, we might not have to pull a new determination and might be able to just photocopy or transfer that one to this new loan. Step one, always check your contract. That's not the compliance part of this. Check your contract with your vendor. They may not allow it. The regulation allows it, but your contract with your vendor may have put a roadblock up for you. Okay, assuming your contract allows it, the regulation states that if the prior determination is less than 7 years old, on the form, meaning the previous determination was completed on a special flood hazard determination form, and the map hasn't changed. So if all three criteria are true, we can go back to that loan from 6 months ago, take a photocopy, and use it for this new loan. Again, as long as the criteria are present and your contract allows for it. Let's take a closer look. So it's got to be less than 7 years old. Well, that's easy. It was 6 months ago. Why do they use 7 years? I can't tell you. My boss researches when this rule came out long ago, and there's no rhyme or reason to it that they gave us. It's just 7 years. Special flood hazard determination form. That's easy. It's got to be on the form. The third one, this is the one that's going to give you fits. How do you know that the map hasn't changed from when the determination was pulled 6 months ago? The biggest confusion with the map hasn't changed is, well, I pay for life of loan coverage, and they tell me if it went from not being in a 100-year floodplain to being in one. That's not what the map change is about. It's did the map associated with the property, did the date of the map change? In other words, if the determination I pulled 6 months ago was based on a map from 3 years ago, and today if I pulled the determination, it would be based on a map that was 30 days ago old rather than 3 years ago old, then I can't rely on that prior determination because the map has changed. Not that the property changed. Okay, it still might not be or still might be in a 100-year floodplain. That's not what's of particular interest. It's that the map associated with the address on that property has been updated. And if that's the case, you cannot rely on that prior determination. So now you go, well, how in the world are my lenders going to know whether or not the map has changed from 6 months ago to today? Well, there's a thing called the FEMA Map Service Center. Very bottom of page number 9, it's underneath number 3, where we talk about the current map. That link that you see there will take you to this website. It's a FEMA website. That, where we have circled there, if you type in the address to the property that is the collateral for your loan, what it's going to do is it's going to bring up the map associated with that property address, and it will include a date. If that date on the FEMA Map Service Center map matches with the previous flood determination that we're trying to rely on, you're golden. But if the map that you bring up here has a different date than the one from 6 months ago's flood determination, you cannot rely on that flood determination. So it might be less than 7 years old. It might be on the form, but if that map has changed, not the zone, just the map, you have to do a new flood determination. So you have to have that procedure built into your process in order to rely on prior determinations. Again, check your contract too. They may not allow for it in certain situations.